Successful women are finding it much harder to find love.
You're going to need a man with a different mindset who can handle that power and that strength. Your knight in shining armor is an illusion. You're not going to be able to sustain that in life.
Good girl syndrome is still seen everywhere.
Main bechari, the narrative has to change. The good girl is the girl who takes care of herself.
Going back to the 7-year-old and asking her what really happened. How does healing transformation happen?
You can't marry a red flag. You have to marry the greenest of green flag.
Hello everyone, welcome to I'll Talks. This is episode 9 and this time we've done a full circle. It's been 1 year since we started I'll Talks. It's Women's Day and this is the Women's Day special. Today, actually, I'm not going to be discussing the usual, how we can be strong and how women can be more empowered. I'm actually going to get into the deeper stuff. We keep telling women to go strong, get more empowered. But when it comes to love, they're still struggling. There are so many challenges still to be navigated. I have a very special guest. I have Sheila Bajaj with us today. She's a healer. She's an author of Love Mirage. She's a hypnotherapist. And we're very excited to explore these topics with her. Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you, Chandni. So happy to be here.
I'm so glad to have you again. I think last time you left us so curious with so many topics that we discussed that this time for Women's Day special, we said there is no better person, no better expert to help us understand what's really going on when it comes to the women. So every time we've been speaking to women, or in fact seeing successful women, modern women, they're actually breaking it in their careers, in their boardrooms. They've actually figured out how to navigate this ladder. But when it comes to love, there's still a lot of complexity involved. In fact, successful women are finding it much harder to find love. What exactly is happening out here?
So what's happening with regard to love and, when it comes to relationships, there is a yin and yang. And when women have to step out of their divine feminine and step into their masculine, which is in the boardroom, which is in the career, that's fine. I've done that all of my life, so I'm not judging that.
Yeah.
That's also something that feeds who you really are. It's almost like when a woman has to step into her masculine, then she has to snap back to being her feminine, again snap into being the masculine. Most times, once a woman steps into her masculine, it's very hard for her to step out of that.
Wow.
Because the dependability that she ends up creating, the stability, the force that she ends up becoming, it's not easy for people who are used to that to say, no, you step into your divine feminine, main kar lunga. It's almost like today both is required. So for women, it's becoming a lot of it's like a rubber band effect. They are not able to step into their divine feminine because they got to wear the pants in the relationship most times. And that's the conflict. So when a man is looking for a partner, he honestly is not attracted to the masculine.
They're intimidated.
Aspect. They're intimidated. So a strong woman is going to be intimidating. So obviously you're going to need a man with a different mindset, who's really sure of himself, who's confident, who's not intimidated, who can handle that power and that strength, who can handle that level of potency. And not a lot of men have that. So the male ego is almost at most times not able to handle that. Very fragile, not able to handle that force that a woman is.
So true. In fact, when you see a lot of your clients coming your way, I've always had this curiosity because whenever I speak to females around me, they're more inclined to the topic of self-work or spirituality or even astrology or, the entire field of study which is in that sphere. But when it comes to males, either they're completely into it or they're completely on the other extreme. Have you seen this even amongst your people, the people you're dealing
100%.
with?
100%. Like even when you have clients who come for workshops or who come for courses where they want to, go deeper, they want to work on their Akashic records, they want to work on on manifestation, on themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if they come just for a reading to our center, women are trained and it's kind of ingrained in women to kind of reflect, to they give a lot of value and they're brought up differently. In India especially, men are not brought up with the mindset that it's okay to feel, it's okay to cry, it's okay to express. When your EQ has sort of like a dhakkan, when it's kind of, there's some kind of a cap or a glass ceiling put to how flexible emotionally you could be, you need to be. It's there are definitions, there's a box. a man is strong, a guy doesn't cry, a guy doesn't express, like, there's too many
There's no safe
parameters.
space
Yeah,
to be yourself.
so then they can't really, like, they're not trained to look to go deeper. When
Yeah.
there's a problem, feeling is a weakness.
Yeah.
So that's all of that. It's all in the upbringing. It's our moms and our parents having these conversations with their sons.
And gender
Is-
roles.
Yeah, is that a common thing with women? It's like maybe there's more space and more room to talk about feelings.
Yeah.
Like, even as two women talking together, like, it's not, there's no wrongness if we're talking about how we feel.
Correct.
But have you ever heard about two men sitting and
Yeah.
having a conversation about how they feel? It's probably only in a bar. They're sitting with their beer, and it's like that's the time they're allowed to feel. Otherwise dhakkan hota hai. There's a lid,
Yeah.
and they're not taught to regulate. They're taught to suppress,
Yeah.
and then they may have outbursts, and then that's like, oh, I'm an angry person. Then they get
That's
they
so
use that also
interesting.
as a part of, like, yeah, this is my personality. I'm an angry
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
But it's not an angry person. There's no such thing as an angry person.
Yeah.
You either have anger and you're able to, like, deal with it. I mean, everyone has anger, either it's suppressed anger or it's active anger. And anger is not a wrongness.
Yeah.
But men in general in our country are not trained, not given the room. It's not okay to talk about feelings and
Yeah.
emotions. And even self-awareness, it's like, ये सब लड़कियां करती हैं, there's a lot of
true.
judgment there.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we've seen that enough, right? And I think that's what even females are facing as a barrier when they're trying to get into a relationship or have open conversations about
The
these
guy
areas.
doesn't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to sort of get deeper or get into the self-awareness mode, and maybe it's a barrier.
That's why women are preferring to be in a relationship with a woman only, because they're like,
Correct.
"Arey, at least emotional quotient is like matching.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you feel like most women end up saying, I don't know, I feel like I'm married to a mountain, a wall, or plastic. I don't know what I'm married
Yeah.
to.
So you actually mentioned conditioning playing a very big role. And in fact, you said, see, successful women are stepping into masculine roles and males are not allowed to express themselves. So does that also mean males are actually not exploring their feminine sides?
Of
And
course.
do the answers lie somewhere there?
See, today men are when they're kind of in nuclear, not living in nuclear families, not living so much in joint family, there's more room to, like, and also with women being a little more evolved.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even if a man is not brought up in a progressive home, where he's kind of given those definitions of gender roles, and
Yeah.
men don't go into the kitchen, men don't do this for their kid. Like, I still see people, like, in my extended family, I still see those judgments flying around. I see those mindsets, and it's like, okay, it's interesting. That's all we like. You end up seeing that in every so-called progressive family as well. You're going to notice shades of judgment, shades of, like,
Absolutely.
all of that. कि अरे ये आदमी क्यों कर रहा है? मतलब, why did
Yeah.
you have to go and drop the kid? Why
Yeah.
did you have to help your kid with homework? That's the mom's job. But
Yeah.
somehow they're not ever telling the women that's not your job.
Correct.
It's a given. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
तुम्हें करना है तो तुम कर रही हो. Like, it's not your job. When the
So no
woman
matter how progressive we may have gotten, the undercurrents are not going anywhere.
not for a while.
Yeah, not
So
any.
men are still going to feel like, अरे ये मेरा काम नहीं है. But the more evolved women are becoming, and when the man steps out of that nest of his, which he's in that nest for a very, very long time. He's
Yeah.
in that nest till his adult brain is developed most times. So which is why those mindset, the belief systems, the program running the show is a very old program. It's an obsolete program. And that's why when they get into a relationship, this upgrading of mindset, which women do to men,
Yes.
and I'm sounding
training.
extremely feminist right now, which I am,
Happy
which is
Women's
fine. But yeah, happy Women's Day. So, मतलब, वो थोड़ा टाइम
Yeah.
लगता है, like,
Yeah.
to change
No,
and
they're evolving
upgrade that
together.
mindset. See,
Yeah.
everything is about upgrading your mindset. Okay, there's no right or wrong here.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to parenting, okay, like when it
Yeah.
comes to today's parenting compared to earlier, it is the parents who have to upgrade their mindset to their children, right?
Yeah.
It's not the other way around.
Correct.
When you get an iOS update, you update your
Correct.
your phone software, right?
Yeah.
You don't go back to an old version of button wala phone. No one's doing that. So when you're upgrading everything, you're the interior of your home, the clothes, your look, your hair, your skin, when you're doing all of that, why not upgrade your mindset, your belief system?
Your belief system and your evolution is up to you.
Exactly.
And in today's time, where people are actually stepping slightly away from families and finding their own voices, both males and females are finding their ground, helping each other evolve. And maybe that's why successful women paradox is true, but also moving in the correct direction, right? The minute females start realizing that it's okay to also step back into my feminine roles when required, I can use whichever part I need at whatever, depending on the
Like
situation.
changing gears, a lot of women who are really strong and who are successful find it very difficult to find a partner.
True.
It's a very lonely space because they are primarily functioning from a yang element.
Yes.
And the man is looking at this yang element, and either he needs to be really yin in nature and feel like, okay, now I'm drawn to this really strong woman. But honestly, that's why strong women find it very, very difficult to find the right man. But I tell people this is to your advantage.
Yeah.
Like if a man is threatened by your success, by your personality, by your confidence, then you may want to rethink that.
Yes.
So it's a good filter. Like when I
Yeah.
was a single parent, I struggled for, the longest time to even find someone who didn't have that issue with like, okay, you know what, she's a single parent and she has a kid. Because the mindset was that you're damaged.
Yeah.
Like you have baggage. Now, if a person had that mindset, and really to each their own, I already had a filter.
Correct.
I already had one layer filtering out all the people that
Yes.
were surface level. I was very,
Absolutely.
very happy that all of the rotters were out of the game.
So successful women actually have a very strong
It's an
filter in their
advantage.
advantage.
Yeah.
But let's pause out there and think about, we were looking at a lot of studies that success, insane success, let's say, comes from also certain adversity that you've come up from. The reason you were pushed to go into a masculine role, the reason you were pushed to become so successful all of a sudden, or rather very fear driven. In India, especially because it's a competitive market, people have been fear driven from the time you were in school. It's a rat race, right? So people are operating a lot from fear rather than abundance. That's it. Today, women want to understand A, how to step out of their masculine roles, and B, how do I move on with my life without coming from fear? Like, how do I move from a place of abundance? What could you tell them?
So I'm gonna have to do some personal disclosure.
Yeah.
So because I went through an abusive marriage, and then my ex-husband walked out when actually I should have, but I didn't have support at that point. So my journey was also driven from being at rock bottom, really like having zero money, zero everything, zero support, and was driven from a place of need and fear. And I need to survive. I need to make sure I educate my kid, need to give him a decent life, all on my own. So sometimes the fire that in your belly could be an adversity, could be a
Yes.
fear, could be need, could be that struggle, that rock
Yes.
bottom,
Yeah.
your biggest rock bottom to turn into your biggest force.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yes.
But I tell people a lot of times that is an old program that runs you for so long, and you can change that.
Yeah.
It's a subconscious mind thing. Somehow, scarcity is something that's also found in a lot of communities.
Yeah.
Like I'll talk about my community, the Sindhi community. A lot of people know Sindhis to be very extremely conjuice and extremely tight-fisted with money, and that comes from a generational pattern from our ancestors who have gone through that kind of
Yes.
struggle. So one thing is about things that are carried over from generation to generation, but it's fine for an adversity or a rock bottom or a big blow in your life to fuel. If you had gone through a situation that was not just, you went through abuse, life was not fair to you, and there's a lot of frustration, or the feeling of like I've been wronged.
Yeah.
And sometimes that fuels your drive and your
Yes.
determination, and it's fine for it to do it for a while.
Yeah.
But self-awareness and catching yourself that it doesn't have to run your life.
Correct.
There's a program that needs to be changed. I don't have to follow the program that the 25-year-old Sheila went through.
Correct.
The fear and the abuse she went through, and use that as a motivation. You can use growth, joy, fun, and whatever is important to you as the motivation. And
Yes.
that switch is very difficult on a conscious level. That's something that I bring in hypnotherapy
Hypnotherapy.
with, because there is a reason why like you're just running on an autopilot mode.
Correct.
Whether it's confidence, whether it's procrastination, depression, so many different things are just auto programs that your conscious mind is running on. Your subconscious mind is running the show. So for women who have got their motivation from that struggle, or from being
Yes.
stopped, or from being throttled, and they kind of
Push
you know
through
found
it.
that rebellion
Yeah.
inside of them, and that fueled their journey. I tell people, go through a hypnotherapy, go to the root cause of why you feel that, go complete the story for that 7-year-old you, the
Yes.
10-year-old you, the 15-year-old you, and you can change the program and maybe even achieve peak performance in your life if you're able to find a different story to motivate you.
Yeah.
You can change it, because you're probably creating this growth from fear and panic in your subconscious mind. You can change the program, relax, not have the panic, and still create it from a place of yaar maza aa jayega, like
Yes.
that's the kick I'm going to get if I go to that level. Like I want to create something new. I mean, whatever your motivation is,
Oh yeah, even
you got
for
to
the
find that.
larger good or whatever the purpose is. Correct.
Yeah, you got to really go deep and see what tickles you.
Yeah.
You can't fool yourself to do something or find a new motivation without, like, you got to be real with it.
Yes.
You can't fake it. Like, okay, I want to create meaning. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So you got to
Yeah.
find what is that new meaning that you desire.
Yeah, this is so fantastic. So, right from moving from how men versus women behave, going to how successful women behave, and how you can change your programming from fear to abundance to drive your life. Like finally taking the driving seat in your hand rather than being in the passenger seat.
Yeah, like even in relationships, sometimes we get triggered because there is an open wound from when you were, let's say, 7. And it's not the current you that's getting triggered.
Yeah.
It's because there's an old wound that wasn't completely healed, and that story wasn't completed in that for that 7-year-old you, and the adult you is getting defensive.
I think
so a lot of
that's-
times we screw up our current relationships because of that old program, and sometimes we don't even know why.
Yeah.
Why is it that in an entire room or in a conversation, if someone says something to 5 people, there's one person who's getting triggered? That trigger is like talking to you. It's like, hey,
It got
listen.
your pulse, not everyone else's.
Yeah, it's like it's talking to, and it's saying
Yeah.
like, please listen to me. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason I'm being triggered. Pay
Correct.
attention. Like help me.
Yes.
So your triggers are really a sign for what needs work.
Especially for self-work, because people keep saying, okay, I know I'm supposed to learn a lesson in this, but how do I understand where and how do I learn it? And I think the biggest clue is your trigger.
Your trigger.
Everything that triggers you is actually an opportunity.
I tell people your triggers
Yeah.
and your trauma and your life lessons are your guru.
Yes.
They are your
That's right.
teacher. Like when
Yeah.
you look at them, don't hate them. Also look at them as your guru, as you're learning, and say, wow, you know
Yeah.
what? This person who is such a rotter in my life, such a toxic person,
Yes.
came to teach me this.
Yes.
Like I go through lessons even now, and people who watch my life think like, oh, because you know tarot, because you know numerology, you have feng shui, vastu, they think I'm Harry Potter. I can just like move things around, and like
Yeah.
I can just turn people into chipkali or something. But honestly, I'm as human as it gets.
Yeah.
And every person, whether you're on the spiritual path or you're some mataji or you're some chapri, whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, you are going to have learning lessons.
Correct.
In fact, people who are hardcore, like, yeah, you know what, I've chosen the toughest curriculum, they are going to have dhulai wale learning lessons. They are not going to have chiller level. If you're doing your PhD, those tests and exams are way more challenging than your second grade exams.
This is such a refreshing take on how to look at your triggers and how to look at your problems.
Yeah.
And in fact, since we've spoken about problems and you did touch upon, going back to the 7-year-old and asking her what really happened. So if you can help us understand, how does healing transformation happen? Or how does inner child transformations or healing happen? Does it have anything to do with your name spelling? Does it have anything to do with your numbers? Are they all connected, or are they
So
different?
numbers have nothing to
To
do
do
with
with
your
this.
inner child.
Okay,
Okay, your
fine.
numbers are quietly sitting
Yeah.
in one side, in one corner.
Lovely.
These are all different pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Your inner child is basically the older version of you.
Correct.
And we all have gone through it, okay, including myself. Trauma comes from two things. One, something that was done to you, which caused something, some trauma, some pain, some sadness, a feeling of inadequacy, or changed a belief system in you.
Yeah.
Or there could be something that was an unmet need, the love that you didn't get, the acceptance that you didn't get, the feeling of I'm not enough. Maybe someone ignored you. So
Yeah.
an unmet need is also a trauma.
Yeah.
Having an absentee parent is a trauma.
Abandonment
So
issues.
yeah. So now that 7-year-old, that 10-year-old version who's unhealed or had something going on is stuck there.
Yes.
Is still stuck there. And now there's a little cord. It's like a rope
Yeah.
that's connecting your older self to your current version
Yeah.
of you. Imagine there's a cord.
Yeah.
That version of you, that 7-year-old you, is tugging like this,
Yeah.
pulling back. And that's why when you get triggered, it's not the adult you that's reacting to this situation. It's the older version of you.
Yes.
Because it's not complete there. She's still tugging
Yeah.
at you. Now, this is the present version of me, right? And now there's a future version of me I desire to be. That older, past traumatized version of me is tugging at my present self.
Yes.
So, inner child hypnosis or inner child healing is really about one breaking that link between the traumatized old version of you and the current you, going back and integrating, completing that story,
Yes.
giving closure and meaning to that 7-year-old, okay, to complete their story, and then integrating you one
Yeah.
with your current self.
Yeah.
It's like, upgrading the older version of you and then bringing that younger version of you to the current you.
Correct.
Now, once you do that, the power, the potency, and person that they become is so different. One, the person is just azad panchi. They're just so free. There's this childlike energy in that person. When you walk into a room, people will be like, "Arey, this one is smiling more. This one looks happier." It's because you sense the child version of them in the adult them.
Yeah.
And that's such a breath of fresh air when
It
you've
is.
seen anyone when
Yeah.
they've kept their inner child alive.
Yeah. In fact, they call it the subconscious fragmenting, where a lot of parts of you actually start splitting when you
Yes.
have different traumas or triggers in your
Yeah.
life. And this is actually
And
integrating them
integrating.
and then they live within you in harmony.
And then you're able to actually go to the next level.
Yeah.
Like even when people tell me how much have I tried to manifest, I'm not able to. I say, how will you? You literally have so much gobar that you've shoved under the carpet. There's this older version of you that's weeping, crying, screaming for attention. This part of you feels it's not worthy of love. I'm not enough. You're trying to fill a void. The fundamental thing why people don't attract a contributive relationship is because right now you're bleeding inside and there's a void crying out loud for help, like, I need love, I need you. And tell me, when you go to a person and say, I need you, like an
Yeah.
insurance salesman,
Yeah.
how do you feel?
Yeah.
You feel like, ugh,
Yeah.
like
No one
and
likes needy,
no one likes
energy.
neediness.
Yeah.
So the energy of need will always push away.
Yeah.
If you function from a void, you will push relationships away.
Yeah.
When you need that business, you will push the business away. So these are rules of the universe. This is how energy functions in the universe.
And I think
So-
that's when people say, detachment works, they don't understand where the detachment might be coming from.
And why detachment
Yeah,
works? Why
yeah.
not being needy? Why is self-love important? Because
Yeah.
you stop being needy then.
Yeah.
Why is everyone harping once you're whole and complete by yourself, you'll find the right partner? Hello, I want that partner, then I'll feel whole and complete. That's what people who are
That's
single
how-
will
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But till you don't fill your own
Yeah.
cup, you are a bhikhari with one katora in your hand, and the other person's probably another bhikhari who's got
Yeah.
one katora and then two beggars begging from each other. No one has anything to give.
So the funny part I've seen, Sheila, is like, because this information is now fortunately there on social media, and a lot of people might be seeing this already. But what I've seen people still struggle with is, okay, I've heard this half cup empty or void sort of a concept. How do I fill it? That's one. Then there are these vague concepts which say, hey, do some self work or do some journaling or do some. So people know there are some things there, but people still don't really have a clear answer that how do I fill my cup?
The first step to this is go back to the root cause or whatever you're grappling with, whether it is people pleasing, it's coming from abandonment, coming from the fear of losing people. Someone's going to leave me in my life and go, so I better keep giving, make them so busy receiving from me, they will not leave me and go. So people pleasing, overdoing comes from that place. Neediness comes from that. So first go back and heal the root cause of that. Go to
Nice.
hypnotherapy, get it sorted out. One session and your life will change. You don't need like 2 years of
Multiple.
therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the reasons I got into hypnotherapy is because I want everything yesterday. I have
Yeah.
ADHD and dyslexia, and that combination is khatarnak. So I want everything now in my life, not even now, yesterday.
Yeah.
So for me, treating something that you're grappling with, waiting for 1-2 years is बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत. I'm not
much.
willing to put that much effort.
Yeah.
Imagine like in one session, if a person's able to come out of that, like, you know, it's just like a switch in your brain that's just flipped, and suddenly you don't feel that anymore because you've integrated your inner child with your current self. So that's something that I tell people to do. Second is fall in love with yourself.
Yeah.
Do you like your own company? Go with yourself for a movie to begin with. Like, see if you can tolerate yourself. If you can't tolerate yourself, the other
Yeah.
person's not going to be able to tolerate you. You have to be happy with yourself as a person.
Yeah.
You know, most people, मुझे ऐसे लगता है ना, like people are just not happy with themselves because the voice in their head is the voice of everyone who's so unhappy with them, and that's coming from, you know, like the pressure, you know, of showing up. And with time, it's becoming worse.
So
You know,
right.
everyone today needs to be successful. Everyone today needs to have so many houses. Everyone today has to have this much income.
Yeah.
So the pissing contest that has become what it is today is too much. Earlier, it was not as much. It was only acha, you know, like depending on where you came from, which region you came from. Somebody was having jewelry ka contest. Someone was having education ka contest. Someone was having money ka contest. Now tell me how many more other competitions and you know, comparisons
Yeah.
there are. Everyone needs to have a destination wedding. Everyone's comparing this,
Social
that.
media has become a bit much for a lot of people
Exactly.
to handle.
So what is your self-talk?
Yeah.
Are you happy with yourself?
I'm actually so glad you brought up the self-talk because off late I have been discussing this in different groups, and I've come to realize that when you start discussing, you realize, oh my God, it's not only me, right? Because you realize a lot of people have negative self-talk, and also there's a very strong critical voice in their head that doesn't let them live. Literally, right? Is there a concept to this? Is there something
The
related?
first thing I ask them is, whose voice is that? Is that your mom's or your dad's?
Usually, that's the.
And
that's
they
where
will
it's
be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have my
Yeah.
mother in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most times it's that. The parent who you want to be that nurturing energy to motivate you and nurture you and pump you up and lift you up. If you don't have that, you need yourself. You know,
need to
you need to
become
do
that
that for
parent.
yourself.
Yeah.
And that will happen only through the whole inner child hypnosis journey.
Got it.
Where you can go back and reparent yourself. You know, we just come from very different generations of like parenting. Like
Yeah.
our parents were different. We
Yeah.
are different kind of parents. Like I think my generation, there are still two kinds of parenting styles.
Yeah.
Like we've all gone through very strict kind of parenting, very conservative parenting, and my generation still has a choice. I end up seeing people in my, you know, like my friends, I've seen both types. Very conservative, mimicking their own parents, and some people breaking the generational pattern and saying, no, I want to be the parent I wish I had.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to be a different kind of parent. And I was like, hey, it's a choice I'm going to have to make
Yeah.
of what kind of parent do I want to be.
Yeah.
And most times, following what your parents parented you with comes from a place of fear. If I'm not strict with my kid, what if they just go wild?
Yeah.
That was a fear I
Yeah.
had as a parent, was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, if I'm like not being this, like, yeah,
Am I not being a good parent?
yeah, like I was a wild kid.
Yeah.
Like I was a wild child. Oh my God. I feel so bad for my mom. But the thing is that I was like, I don't want to bring up my child the way my parents brought me up, or the way I was brought up, which was like feeling almost caged. So but if I don't do that, what if I'm making a mistake? What if I'm ruining my child's
Yeah.
life? Because honestly, we don't come with a guarantee.
Yeah.
We don't come with a manual. So it's really like a change
The
that
do's
one has
and
to
don'ts
make.
are not clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one has to really choose as to what kind they become. So now it's turned from Women's Day to parenting. I don't know how that happened.
So Sheila, so thank you so much for explaining what inner child is and how people can deal with it. In fact, are there any quick remedies someone can, look at when they are trying to start on the first step of filling their cup or self-work?
Okay, so before podcasts were a thing,
Yeah.
I have an audio podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Stitcher, I think, and it's also on my YouTube. So people can actually go and listen to those audios. So one of the topics that I like people to listen to is receiving and honoring yourself. Listen to it multiple times if you have to. because this is the beginning of the journey of healing yourself. It's absolutely free. I have a ton of meditations on my YouTube channel, from full moon meditation to emotional healing meditation to releasing negative emotions, something for new moon, something for angel meditation.
Nice.
So I tell people to start their journey with whatever they resonate with. It doesn't matter what meditation you do. Like, you may like a certain type of meditation more because that resonated with you. Now, if my style of meditation doesn't resonate with you, find something else.
Correct.
But find something that helps you go back to your core.
Correct.
That goes back to like working on the root cause, which is the roots. It's like, if your fruit is getting rotten, go and treat it at the root level. Don't try to treat the symptom. It's like, if you have a health issue and you've tried like Western medicine, it doesn't work, then you may try homeopathy. If
Find
that doesn't
what
work,
fits.
try Ayurveda. If that doesn't work, try acupuncture.
Yeah.
But don't give up on yourself already. And I think that should be the first approach, is love yourself enough to not give up
Perfect.
on what works for you. That is
fantastic.
one. I tell people to read The Love Mirage. It's a book that I've written on relationships. Helps you understand yourself, helps you understand love, helps you understand why you compromise. It helps you understand concepts like the bad boy syndrome, doormat syndrome.
Oh, nice.
What do we get out of compromise? Like, being the martyr or being the person who compromised, the good one, was actually appreciated and
lot.
ingrained in our psyche from television to movies. If you look at a lot of the
Older
female
movies.
characters,
Yeah.
were always the bichari, Meena Kumari, all like that.
Abla Nari.
Abla Nari.
Yeah.
So that was like the branding for compromise was like ekdam, ek bahut acha cheez hai. Do it. Like, it's really good, you'll be like appreciated.
And even today,
It was
Sheila,
glorified, no?
Absolutely. And even today, the good girl syndrome has not gone anywhere. The definition may have changed, but like the fact that dating is a taboo in so many different markets of India, because a good girl doesn't go on this particular dating app, So I feel that a lot of pockets are now evolving and moving out, but good girl syndrome is still seen everywhere.
Main bechari. We need to normalize and say that the narrative has to change. Is that the good girl is the girl who takes care of herself.
Yeah.
The good girl
Correct.
doesn't start with taking care of everyone and abusing yourself.
Yeah.
Like, divorcing parts of you to fit in somewhere is no longer considered good girl. And that's something that mindset shift needs to happen. क्योंकि आप कितना भी remedy करो, अगर आपका दिमाग mindset doesn't change, you are not going to move forward. I tell people that's why spiritual healing by itself sometimes is incomplete, because energetically maybe you've made a shift.
Yeah.
But what about the mindset shift? Which is why I actually got into hypnotherapy, because I realized healing was happening on an energy level, and it was recurring.
Oh,
it was
wow.
coming back. And why is it not permanent? Because the mindset hasn't shifted.
Wow.
You haven't let go of the root of why that actually came into your life.
Wow.
It's like you've gone and had a bath and the stench from your body is removed. But why was it coming in the first place? Something was rotting. Maybe there was some bacteria. Maybe there was some fungus. Maybe there was something growing. Something was rotting somewhere. Usko theek karo. Fix the root of the stench. Not the stench only.
Wow. That's so
And
beautiful.
that's why the mindset change is very important, that when you actually want to get into a contributive, healthy relationship, if you notice, there's something weird about me. Like, when I get into a relationship, ye ho jata hai.
Yeah.
And honestly, you got to be very brutally honest with yourself when it comes to getting into a relationship or being in it. If it's not working, don't always have the habit of like blaming it on the other.
Yeah.
Like, really look at yourself objectively and say, hey, why do I go crazy? Why do I behave so defensive? Why do I behave dominating? Why do I become overly people pleasing? Why do I become like all, jalebi and raita in this relationship? We all behave weird with different people.
Yeah.
In every relationship, there's a different avatar or a different version of you that plays
comes
out
to life. Yeah.
because the other person's triggering something, bringing something out. So kind of look at yourself and see, like a good perfect relationship could be missed or could pass you by because you're functioning from your triggers.
Nice.
Because it's all kich 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 kich. You could be the red flag in the relationship. No, people are always looking at, he's the red flag, she's the red flag. What if you are the red flag?
Correct.
So you need to look at the red flagness within you and heal that, and everyone needs to do that for themselves.
Absolutely.
And take accountability.
Because we're all work in progress at the end of it.
Absolutely. And that's when you'll be like, whole and complete, a full bubble, and not having pieces of yourself that are having a void or a need and,
Yeah.
hungry and, bruised,
Yeah.
and then getting into a relationship with Lula Langda, all
Fantastic.
like broken.
Yeah.
You want to be whole and complete, healed and strong when you get into a relationship, because that's when you'll attract the right partner.
Perfect. I think that was superb on healing transformation. And we learned a bit, how to sort of navigate ourselves first before we can start even looking at partners outside. It's internal versus external. In fact, moving on to something even more interesting, you have dealt a lot with Akashic records and quantum manifestation. But before we go into details, if you could help us understand what is Akashic records?
Based on your time of birth, date of birth, you have an astrology chart that gives you guidelines about, what your life purpose is, a lot of things about your life, turning points, ye wo. Based on the time that you were born, like that, how you have that record. It's like, imagine that there is a hisab kitab, or like some kind of a kitab of all, like your soul's journey,
Yeah.
of all the lifetimes that you've led, your karma, your learning lessons, even the oaths and vows that you've taken in previous lifetimes. Because every time in our previous lifetimes, let's say we were not as evolved as we are now.
Correct.
Like every lifetime, humanity evolves. So let's say the 200 years ago or 5,000 years ago, there was a dumb version of you that, went through some setback and said, oh, now I will vow never to have enough money. I will never ever marry somebody because this is like, let's say you have just made some dumb promise, some dumb oath and vow, and you're still running that same program, much like trauma in your childhood. Something happened there and then you're stuck and you're living that
Yeah.
old story. Similarly, your soul's record has a sum total of everything, and right now it's a hot mess because there are multiple lifetimes. There's so much, somebody killed your partner, you got killed, you killed someone, you have no idea what all has happened, you have no idea what has transpired. And one of the ways to know what kind of life you had from your past lifetime is also to understand what triggers you, even if it doesn't come from your childhood.
Yeah.
For example, like there are some people who go absolute nuts when they watch some Desh Bhakti movies, like my husband. He will just go like, he will have tears in his eyes, like, oh my God. नहीं तो उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, भाड़ में जाए दुनिया. But when this Desh Bhakti movie happens, suddenly he becomes like a different person. So I have, like, there is some connection with a previous lifetime. He may have been like, he may have got killed in some war, maybe he did something for the country, and then that's why that is still there. So sometimes by looking at also certain things that don't have any connection, sometimes certain fears and phobias you have, which are not connected to this lifetime. Like, let's say you've done hypnotherapy and you found that it's not coming from anything that happened this lifetime.
Yeah.
It's in your Akashic record. It is stuck in your soul's record. Now imagine releasing all of that, all the promises, all the oaths and vows, like your entire baggage that you're carrying from other lifetimes. Imagine just dropping the whole load. And so your Akashic record has the power to either erase stuff that you don't no longer need, as long as it's not a life lesson. And imagine updating it with stuff like, upgrading and updating it, saying, okay, now this is what I'd like on my timeline in my life. So like changing the vision, changing the goal.
Yeah.
It's like Google
Nice.
Maps, like you're changing your destination.
yeah.
So you go back and update it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing about Akashic records. When you talk about quantum manifestation, regular manifestation is like, let's say you have a certain issue, fear of abandonment, okay? And I'm doing therapy for you for 2 years, and let's say after 2 years, the needle moves from here to here. With regard to abandonment, I'll keep reassuring you that you don't need to feel that you are abandoned. I try to close the story for you, but fundamentally, this is your conscious mind, this is your subconscious mind. There's a wall between both of them. It does not allow for information to go from your conscious to your subconscious. It's meant for preservation so that you don't keep taking all the faltu data from here and put it there. So like that, our conscious, like our 3D reality, there are people thinking garbage thoughts all the time, like, oh God, abhi earthquake ho jayega, arey, the ceiling will fall down now on me. If manifestation was so quick in the 3D reality, we would have disaster.
Correct.
So there's a lag time for one, how much energy goes into your manifestation, for a thought, feeling, for like basically, the concept, right? Like from reading the the book The Secret,
Yes.
you know that thoughts become things.
Yes.
We all create our reality with choices that we make.
Correct.
Even when we don't make choices, we are making a choice.
Yes.
So not making a choice is also making a choice.
Yeah.
So whatever we think, feel, believe, judge, conclude, whatever this drama is going on here, we create it in our reality. But there is a lag time because we are in this reality, and it takes that much thrust, that much force, that much focus, that much energy, and so there's a little bit of a lag time. Okay, but in the quantum realm, time is not linear. So you could go from 2% to 100% in a single moment. Like you're trying to fix some glitch on your app and it's not getting fixed.
Yeah.
You go back to the code and you put it there, and then immediately it reflects here. And you feel like, oh, wow, it's magic.
Right.
But that's how quantum manifestation works. So you plant something into the quantum realm,
Got it.
and then it starts to show up in your current reality, and you have to disrupt. To make it happen, you have to do something called disruption. You have to disrupt your 3D reality with breaking routine.
Wow.
You have to change something that you were normally doing. If you sit in a specific place on a sofa every single day and have your chai, you need to change. You need to change your routine, change the time you wake up, change the places you go to, change something in your life, and sometimes change multiple things. So when you do disruption, you disrupt a pattern in your current reality. That's when you create an opening for that new thing to come in.
Oh,
It's like a
wow.
crack.
Wow.
अभी जगह ही नहीं है उसको आने के लिए, तो how will it come?
Correct.
Your current 3D reality, this is my routine, this is my
Yeah.
life, these are my friends, this is the gym I go to, this is the food I eat, this is the work I do. How is it going to change? How is it going to make you manifest going to that level? You need
Correct.
to disrupt something. You need to
Yeah.
make some calls, you need to travel, you need to go here, meet this, go for that conclave, go for that conference. Just like, shake things up a bit.
Yeah.
You know, just shake it
Go
up, shake it
on
up
an
a bit.
app to find someone.
Go on an app to find someone. You
Yeah.
know, have the right mindset, the right approach.
Yeah.
And even if you have the fixed points of view that, Array, I've been on 5 apps before, maybe this
Yeah.
is different.
Correct.
You know, maybe the
Correct.
mindset of people here are different, which it is different on your app.
Absolutely. IEL has always been positioned for, meaningful connections and serious relationships.
And that's
So-
what I heard is when you guys you know,
Yeah.
when we were chatting up on how to make this happen.
Yeah.
That was the first thing, and I've passed that stage because now I have kids who are need to be on, my kid who needs to probably be on a dating
Yeah.
app. So that was the first thing I need to find out, and the feedback that I heard was no, this is for people who are serious, who are looking for something deeper, meaningful.
Yes.
So that's great, that's awesome.
Absolutely. No, you're right. Because, a lot of time when we meet our members who are using IEL, maybe they're doing a lot of things right, but what you said, they've not changed their routine. They've not changed ways, or if you keep trying the same thing, how will you get a different result?
Yeah, like go and attend
Yeah.
those meetups where it's a space for singles to meet.
Yeah.
Like attend these
Absolutely.
events. Like
Put
show
yourself
up.
out
Put
there, yes.
yourself out there.
Yes.
Like it's all about that. So you got to disrupt. You want to manifest that ideal partner. You do that, but you
Yeah.
also make the small baby steps to making that happen. Disrupt your current reality. Make space for that person in your life.
Correct.
If you don't have space, only where you will put that person, even if he comes along or she comes along.
Thank you so much. This has been
You're
very, very
welcome.
enlightening. In fact, if you could give us one example, where healing transformation really worked, an interesting story that you came across.
We see healing transformations all the time, but when it comes to inner child hypnosis, I remember this one person who had come to me in a very, very toxic marriage, and every time she would talk about what she was going through in the marriage, she would just keep tearing up. Like, it was so difficult to even see, like, even have a normal conversation because there's so much pain and so much so much sadness there, being in that one-sided relationship, being in that
Correct.
toxic relationship. So she went through hypnotherapy, went through inner child hypnosis, and after that her face looks different.
Nice.
She's confident. She's now got her divorce. She's gotten out of that, that toxicity. She's happy. When you see her smiling, you're like, my God, her face lights up. I mean, honestly, the picture before and after, she almost looks like a completely different person. Looks like she's gone through some skin treatment.
Wow.
There's a complete glow up.
Yeah.
But there was a 360-degree difference.
Yeah.
And every time she attended any session, of mine, which was either something to do with inner child hypnosis, or it was for confidence, or whatever. She would keep reattending because every time it took her from here to here, then from here to here, here to here. The journey never ends.
Yeah.
Chandani, that's the beautiful part. We are all work in progress.
Yes.
And to reach that level that you attract that wow person, your journey of healing will never end. That doesn't mean that your journey of healing is only going to be with me. It can be with
Correct.
10 different people. It can be a simple YouTube video. It could be a podcast that you heard that changed your life.
I've heard this, that once you get started on this path of spirituality or self-work, universe has a way of sending help through the way.
And it's magic one day at a time, and it one step at a time. But it's like every day there's magic that gets created in your life.
In fact, you spoke about magic, and you've had a magical journey as well, right? From, you spoke about your previous relationships, which are actually very big learnings. And then now you've, in fact, gotten to this entire new world. And now your life looks completely different. So if you can help our viewers also understand, I'm sure a lot of them are stuck at very similar spaces. And if they were to go through this journey, what can they learn from you?
So to begin with, I never hide my own personal journey, because I think that it helps people understand that, even if I'm standing on a pedestal today, I went through that Gadha Mazduri, and that it's like I've fallen, broken my nose, made mistakes, and, made bad choices, made wrong choices. So I got married to my red flag. He was not only a red flag, a toxic relationship. He was my rebound. It was all put together, all in one. The funny part was I didn't leave, he left, because I didn't have support at that point. And this was very, very long back. Those days were different. That time was different.
Correct.
Like 20 years ago,
Yeah.
it was not heard of. Like people who were divorced or getting separated, it was not heard of.
Yeah.
And the mindset was very different. Today, people are a lot more aware. People are a lot more open about it. They don't judge you for choosing yourself. But that time it was. And the good part was that he left. So, I was like, there's not much that I can do.
Yeah.
वो छोड़ के गया, मुझे क्या करना है?
Yeah.
So, but after that, I was just like a horse with blinders. I worked on myself. I worked on my career, worked on my kid. And I think for me, life was simple, because when you're a horse with blinders, you don't have too many distractions.
Wow.
You don't put your energy into 100 different places.
Correct.
But it was my own healing journey of understanding myself, understanding why I compromised. What was people who compromise, they somewhere also create that the opposite person's abuse to become more. It's like you're an enabler.
Correct.
So this martyr thing that we've been ingrained with, this Meena Kumari, this Bichari good girl syndrome, that backfired for me badly. Like I'm a wild child.
Yeah.
So there was no room for me to be myself.
Yeah.
And I think that those days we were not educated enough to understand signs of abuse. Like the first time I realized I was in an abusive marriage was on Valentine's Day. There was an article in the newspaper that spoke about emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. And I'm reading it, and I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in an abusive relationship. Like, the awareness was like 20 years ago.
Correct.
The
It's
awareness was not
easy.
there only. The woman was supposed to be complacent.
Correct.
You're supposed to be the doormat. You're supposed to be Abla Nari. You're supposed to be the one who compromises.
Yeah.
You have to be the good wife.
Yeah.
It's like, who wants to be the bad person? So you
Correct.
compromise more than, okay, this person's not happy. Let me become even more of a doormat. No, this person's not happy. So you basically chop pieces of yourself every day to fit into this mold of what this person wants you to be. And at one point, you don't recognize yourself.
Yeah.
You don't know who you are. I couldn't recognize who I've become. My voice was different. I looked different. I looked like I was 55. I looked so depressed. Like if I pick out some picture, I can share it with you. I looked older, and I looked so sad. And after I got out of it, like you could see I was tired, I was exhausted. Like in my eyes, the first thing that I did when my ex walked out, I think in a few days, was I went and cut my hair. I had hair this long.
Wow.
This long.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did was I went and chopped it really short, but you could see the exhaustion in my eyes, and after that, it was just, I focused on myself, my kid. And I think when your energy is at that good level, when you've reached that point where you love yourself, even though I was not searching for a partner, I was very happy being single. I did not want to get married again. I did not. I thought relationship okay, but I don't know if I want to get married again. I didn't want to have another child. And then I attracted the right contributive partner in my life. And then the rest is history. All your triggers, everything. I mean, I think he just came and he hugged all of my triggers.
Nice.
You know, he healed all of them.
Yeah.
So I think the right partner will not, like, he'll still piss you off.
Yeah.
They're
That's the
most
job.
annoying people.
That's the JD I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, that's the role. On a deeper level, that person is, it's like you, even if you had a chance to choose all over again, I'd still choose that monkey.
Nice.
Like, I'd still choose Vaishak all over again if I had to, because no matter how annoying he can be at times, and you know, we have a very healthy relationship where we can, you know, talk about what's not okay, talk about what's okay, like, you know, this whole seesaw. But we both know on that foundational level, like, there's a lot of allowance, there's a lot of acceptance, there's contribution.
Yeah.
You know, we build each other up.
Correct.
For one day, he's never been threatened of my growth.
Lovely.
He's never tried to, like, put me in a box.
True.
He always comes from that place of, like, ja Simran ja, ji le apni zindagi.
Yeah.
And I think that's a healthy relationship.
Where you can grow together.
Yes. When you're not threatened by your partner's growth, when you're not threatened by their fame or their achievements, and you don't feel like they need to be a certain way.
True.
And I remember having so many conversations with him, you know what, I can't do this. He's like, you know, if I wanted someone to do that, I would have married a cook. I would have married a maid. I really don't need you to do it. Like, I was like, you know what, I've been there, done it. Now I'm just like, I have this aversion to it. He's like, that's fine. We can hire someone to cook, you know. I'm not marrying you because you cook well.
Yeah. Sweet, so sweet.
Yeah, from our media and from our entertainment and all of that, we need to understand that your knight in shining armor, or that perfect knight in shining armor that you're looking
Shah Rukh
for,
Khan.
is an illusion.
Correct.
Is a character you might fall in love with on television or in movies, like Durandar type. Like, that whole vibe is so amazing. Like, that's good for even a relationship.
Yeah.
But you know, you're not going to be able to sustain that in life.
In
so
the
knock
long
yourself
run, you
out.
want someone who's boring, routine, and comfortable.
Exactly. So I tell people, yeah, you know what, that knight in shining armor, like, yeah, he may be the perfect relationship, that he is probably boyfriend material. But when it comes to husband material, you can't marry a red flag. You have to marry the greenest of green flags.
That is so fantastically put. Thank you so much for walking us through your journey, Sheila, and thank you so
My
much
pleasure.
for telling us about so many concepts that we had never heard of. I think you made not only mine but all Women's Day. So happy Women's Day.
You too. Happy Women's Day.
And thank you for having us and walking us through our journeys. We have a lot more topics to cover, but that's for a next time. This is a wrap for Women's Day episode.